Blizz is finally breaking their silence on Warcraft 3 Reforged by Bellular News. 22 minutes. Let's hit it.
Well, everyone, the boss of Blizzard.
But actually, 1 second, let me check the servant. 24 minutes. Okay, we're good.
Entertainment has said that we are actually going to hear updates on Warcraft 3 Reforged in June. Now, this is also happening amid a lot of rumors that are sort of circulating in and around the people in the know. This game, I mean, the big name would be Grubby, if you're at all aware.
Oh man,
Warcraft
King
3,
Manethil.
there's quite a lot to get into, actually.
Yeah, it's a case of people are kind of
As in
actually ready for something to happen. Because in case you aren't aware, nothing's literally happened with Reforged since April last year.
Wild.
So it'll be about 14 months since the last patch, which was just a balance patch.
Don't get me wrong, it looks good. The orcs at least still look like orcs from WoW, but like the humans, man, they look not World of Warcraft. Like they don't look Warcraft at all.
Have materialized whatsoever. None of the ladder, none of the
Brawl
profile.
looks fine, I
There are
think.
complaints about no moderation happening whatsoever.
Night Elves
online
look fine,
play.
I think.
So you just leave games and nothing's actually happening there.
Yeah, I think it's only the humans that look pretty bad.
Said they would do,
Yeah,
and then
that's
just
the
didn't
point.
materialize.
Yep, because obviously, also if you're following, the team who were on it were disbanded in 2020. The classic team just gone. So it does leave you wondering who's working on this. If
The
you're going to
classic
announce
team?
something, who's actually doing it? Because you have
Oh, like the maintenance team.
Yeah, so something has clearly been formed within the company to actually deal with this game.
just quietly.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's the maintenance
a little
team.
bit
The
of
classic
recap
team is the
and-
maintenance team.
Oh, man, the art style of that game is so
Weird.
There's a layer of Raid Shadow Legends they, I think, ended up applying, and maybe that could be fixed. Anyway, to go into things, how did it all go wrong? Well, basically, it was never a priority of the company because it was a remaster of an old strategy game. All right, this was per Bloomberg's reporting, right? So
Yeah.
going into the sources.
I
and
saw
all
a video
that.
of one of the developers, not developers, but it was like someone who worked on Warcraft 3, and they brought him in to work like as a mercenary or whatever, like as a a side gig kind of thing, extra help to work on Warcraft 3 Reforged. And he said that's like out of nowhere, suddenly they're like, yeah, well, we're gonna pay you, but it's like we don't need you anymore, and it's like we're gonna reduce the budget on this game or some shit like that.
Look, Warcraft 3, it's an awesome game. It sold incredibly well. It defined so much of PC gaming, the MOBA genre, and yeah.
Okay, I mean, technically, yes, but let's be real, it's not like Blizzard is the one who made the MOBA genre, it was custom maps.
Bastards in charge of actually allocating resources to this project just decided, well, StarCraft 2? Warcraft? No.
No, yeah.
We need things that can sell millions and millions and millions of copies and have lots of recurring revenue. And there is absolutely no
True.
current user spending in a game like this.
Big true.
So evidently that era of the company was not at all interested. And I can definitely say that is absolutely what that era of the company was interested in. Somebody decently positioned. Well, they weren't when they talked to me, but they were decent a wee bit before that. And yeah, can't say names, but I think you probably would recognize actually. Was pretty much confirmed to me, yeah, all that Activision shit you hear, true. True as hell. We feel it all the time.
That's for sure.
It was happening, and of course, really Reforged was just when it became the most evident to players.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, basically,
Yeah, that is Rachel.
War3 Reforged
The
was
humans,
announced.
at least.
At the time of the announcement, I mean, they had
Orcs-ish.
from the reporting we saw, they'd actually done quite a lot of work on basically a Warcraft 3 Reforged that would be kind of bringing some elements of the lore a little bit more up to date and going a lot more.
Yeah,
high
that
effort,
never-
right?
that just
So
never
more
happened.
Voice work being done, more dynamic camera angles, some design tweaks to missions, just all of that to kind of modernize the experience.
Yeah.
And I think really make it a game that they could just say, hey, World of Warcraft only players that didn't play War 3, we've made this feel like a fresh, modern game with the characters you know and love,
Yeah.
go play. But it was never enough of a priority for that to actually be real. So basically, Blizzard kind of ended up doing this project out of obligation because they already took pre-orders on it.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things, pre-order came with the meat wagon mount in World of Warcraft, and I almost wonder if the promise of getting to replay a modern Warcraft 3 and, oh look, I get a cool mount, did that mount make them more fucking money than the game?
I feel like they had a certain quota for the pre-orders that they needed to meet. And since they didn't meet it, they're like, well, there's not much excitement for this game, so we're not going to put in all the effort. Meanwhile, the reason people didn't put the money in is because they thought, well, you know, just don't want to pre-order shit because lately it's been a disappointment. So it was like a vicious circle of like, who's gonna put their foot down first?
Almost
Ridiculous.
Almost certainly. I mean, that's a thing where they say, like, that was whenever they took pre-orders, they weren't ready. That's what, you know, they were actually saying to people at Bloomberg. Yeah, no, the game wasn't ready when we pre-ordered.
Yeah.
We were just told release this, and all those promises they made about making it like, you know, this updated game, you know, kind of less.
Oh, never mind then. So the pre-order started when the game was supposed to be already ready.
More remaster plus or closer to like
There he is.
kind of thing. That was stuff that they just kind of got confused about internally. Communications kind of went a little bit ski with. That's the word people recognize. And just Activision went, oh, money, get us some money. Well, Activision Blizzard, make us some money now. Sorry, we don't have anything else for you. Just release it.
Yeah, and then it turned out that Rob Breidenbecker, basically, let's just say, an aggressive management style that was maybe not conducive to good results. So that didn't work out well. And then we heard from David Freed, who's a Warcraft 3 designer that actually went back to work and Reforged. I mean, what an opportunity. Imagine the excitement.
Yeah, I think that was the guy.
Will have had. Well, there were things in the works for War3 Reforged that would have absolutely revitalized a classic game. And according to an Activision Blizzard spokesman, the central issue with Warcraft 3 Reforged was an early, unclear vision and misalignment about whether the game is a remaster or a remake.
Yeah, so that's the context. The project was absolutely destroyed from within and without for a whole bunch of reasons. They kind of didn't really know what they were doing, and they didn't have the money to do what they wanted to do, and they're also forced to release it early, and they also got disbanded after they released it, so they couldn't fix it.
Yeah.
So that's why, you know, a lot of people will be sitting wondering, well, what's different now? Obviously, it's
Straight
been
up
a while since any updates here. So it's like, what's actually changed at Blizzard? What's changed at Activision? And is there any kind of hope?
I mean, I think since then the Microsoft deal is one thing that changed, but I kind of doubt that it matters at this point still.
For this project to be what people want it to be, or even just any better whatsoever.
Yeah, so the main thing is, in light of the acquisition, a lot of people, myself included, look at the Age of Empires franchise. We see how well it has actually been treated by Microsoft.
So here's the thing. In my opinion, Age of Empires is not making a lot of money. It might even be a deficit, but it is still treated with the respect Age of Empires deserves.
Even when Age of Empires
That's a big
was
one.
hot new thing, they're doing updates, like expansions for Age of Empires, I think 2 and...
Because again, at the end of the day, man, the reputation, the name is so much more valuable than the loss of finances that you might get from this game. When you show people that even though the game is not very successful, it's not like Microsoft is lacking for money. Like, fuck it. Maintain it. Make it good. Give it updates. Make the people happy, because these people might be buying other shit from us. They might be recommending shit to their friends. Like, you know what? You should play these games. I trust this company. And that's what matters, man. The referrals for gaming is way more. It's like when in sales, your biggest money and like your easiest sales are referrals, right? It's like if you work in sales, you know referrals is where you're really gonna make a lot of your money, right? The more base you have, the easier it is to get more clients, right? So like, let's say you have 100 clients as a trainer, which I used to be, right? Did I have 100 clients at one point in time? Probably not. think at any one point I had about 40 clients at most, right? But these 40 can easily bring you more clients, right? Even if one person recommends one person and only 50% of them buy, that's 20 more people. And usually if there's a referral, usually it's a sale, because the guy's like, hey, I see you've been working out. How are you working out? Whatever. It's like, oh, I have a trainer. Oh, really? I was thinking about getting trained. Yo, you should get with my trainer. This guy's already sold. I don't even need to sell him. My client sold it for him, you know? So yeah, and if they weren't interested, I'm like, I'll think about it. And you never meet the guy, right? You never meet the guy who's not interested. You only meet the guys who are already interested. So it's like, there's not much for you to sell. It's like, oh yeah, this is the price, this is the results I'm gonna get you. What are your goals? What are your injuries? Whatever, like basic information, right? Let's sign up, you know, let's start.
3 definitive edition, just like new civs. That's just incredible. And there's actually some rumors going on right now that they are basically going to be doing a Master Chief Collection treatment.
What's changed is Blizzard says Reforged was in development and Xbox acquisition is on the horizon. Look at how they treat Age of Empires. Rumors are that another Xbox franchises is getting the big remaster treatment, Gears of War, in the style of Master Chief Collection. According to Special Nick, there's another Xbox franchise getting the Master Chief Collection style treatment. The main speculation is a Gears of Fable collection. Yo, Fable. Oh, that was a game.
We're thinking to Gears of War.
Yeah, but I think one rumor was
Gears or Fable, not Gears of Fable.
Tom Warren of The Verge said, basically hinted it was
The
Gears.
Gears are really turning on this rumor.
Franchise that, you know, especially if you think about like the positioning of the original Gears.
And to be honest, I hate the remaster meta from developers, man. I really don't like the remaster meta. I want them to develop more new and something more amazing and something out of this world, something that's like, holy shit, how did they come up with this shit? But let's be real, creativity is kind of dying in the industry. So, and also it's hard, man, like how hard to think of shit that no one ever thought about with all the technology we have right now, with all the graphical advancements and shit like that. It's still hard to come up with new shit, because even though everything looks better, the mechanics are pretty much the same. It's like, it's so hard to come up with new shit.
And how very, you know, mid-2000s.
Just be a variation of something old.
That was.
But hey, at least it will look good. Oh shit, what was that?
Taken further maybe, but they still care about the franchise. They think it has valued players, valued Xbox players. Hey, let's properly give it the love it deserves. And I know Master Chief Collection had a bit of a wind up to being actually considered good. But now you see Master Chief Collection's got a lot more players on average than Halo Infinite does. Or at least did for a while there. You're like, yeah, that's because they've given it the attention. So that's the kind of...
Yeah.
Those are the people who now... Well, once it goes through, those are the people who will own Blizzard. People who actually respect what users want out of older franchises. And even if you want to be cynical about it, know how to make money out of old franchises. Because Reforged didn't make any money after all the refunds went through.
I feel like the thing with Microsoft is that they're so big that even if one game fails or like doesn't do well, the shareholders would not even know about it. It's like, oh, why is this game so low? Well, who cares, man? All of these are up, you know? It's like, I'm still making money, right? It's like, why is this game low? Don't worry, we're working on it. We're gonna fix it. So like the opportunity, like all the there's so much backup support for a franchise that is not doing well, right? And they can just sell it off as like, this is a publicity type thing, right? It's like, this game might not be doing well, but it gives us amazing publicity that we're not abandoning it, right? Stuff like that. Meanwhile, in with Activision, how many games do you really have? COD, which is like every time a new COD releases, the previous one is dog shit, and honestly the new CODs are also kind of dog shit, so it doesn't really matter. You have World of Warcraft, from games that they actually, like, you know, make money, right? So I can go with like StarCraft and all that, but it's like, let's be real, right? Diablo Immortal now is making money. They have King, which is basically what's it called, Fruit Panda, whatever it's called, Candy Crush, Fruit Panda, Candy Crush, right? So it's like they have only like 4 real games that are making money and that are actually costing them something. StarCraft doesn't really cost them anything. maintenance is low. Warcraft 3 doesn't really cost them anything. Diablo 3 doesn't really cost them anything. Like, it cost them the server costs. That's about it, right? What else? Hearthstone. I think Hearthstone is actually making them money. Not bank, but like it's making them good money. Heroes of the Storm, maintenance mode. Doesn't really cost them anything, just the servers. And it's still probably making money because it has a shop. If people were starting to play it again, it would make a good chunk of money as well. And it's like, yeah, so Overwatch is, you know, again, they don't really put anything to the development, so it's like you just pay maintenance fees, very minimal investments, right? So the only ones they're actually like working on is World of Warcraft and CODs, really working on, right?
Yeah.
And now Diablo 4.
The other thing is the Warcraft IP, which is actually getting more attention, right? So there's been an executive level shake-up, some hiring and things like that going on with Warcraft in general.
That Warcraft thing is literally for kids. I'm sorry, but like it's a mobile game for kids to get them into Warcraft. Probably. I don't know what the intention was, but it's like I don't see any World of Warcraft player who's like not... Sorry. The only World of Warcraft player that I see that is into it are World of Warcraft fanatics. The ones who have like pictures on their walls full of Warcraft stuff and like all that weird shit, like super Warcraft geeks. They would be playing this. I don't see a normal human being play it.
Okay.
Who just because of Warcraft.
The context here, of course, is Overwatch 2. Where is it? You know, there's the
Oh
beta,
god,
but
Overwatch 2,
that
give me a
beta,
break.
the PvP, that's a free update.
Yeah,
The
basically.
Overwatch 2 PvP
I don't know why
that
it's
they
even
get
called
to make
2.
loads of box copy sales on. Nobody knows.
Where is it?
Obviously, there's Diablo Immortal, but
I mean, let's be real. As far as like all it is really is a new PvP mode, which is 6v6, I guess, instead of 5v5 or something, or 5v5 instead of 4v4. I don't know what the meta is, what their thing is, and PvE experience. So basically, the only reason they're making this Overwatch 2 is because they probably felt like the player base would hate them if they just released paid content, which in PvE mode, right? It's like, oh, this is paid content for Overwatch 1 for PvE, like extra content. It's like, I think they would get a lot of flack, so they're like, you know what, this is Overwatch 2, it's the same fucking game, looks exactly the fucking same, with a different PvP mode for more players, and a PvE mode, which is really what you're paying for, because if you have Overwatch 1, you don't even pay for Overwatch 2 PvP, just for the PvE, so that's all it is.
broadly speaking, the importance of World of Warcraft has increased as Blizzard have struggled in other areas.
They have
right?
no other franchise.
So what we've had here is that basically Jonathan Haidt, who used to be the executive producer on World of Warcraft, he is now the general manager of Warcraft at a franchise level, with Holly Longdale, that people might recognize going way back from EverQuest, but then of course also from the WoW Classic stuff. So Holly is now the executive producer of World of Warcraft and Classic. So we've got that going on, and just a few more like
she's only Classic
and narrative director on World of Warcraft as well. So they're taking some of those things more seriously. Then of course Warcraft Arc Light Rumble War. They're just they want to make king money by doing a different take on Clash of Clans. So there's that. Then
is it even Clash of Clans? It looks more like tower defense, which I guess what Clash of Clans is to an extent.
World of Warcraft is, in addition to those roles I talked about, also just generally hiring up. And when you look at Dragonflight, you see them not really bolting on shiny shit. Instead, there's more of a focus on core game fundamentals that will last the test of time.
We'll see.
It's a marked departure from how Battle for Azeroth, Legion, Battle for Azeroth, and Shadowlands were developed. So that's all good.
Yeah, after World of Warcraft, basically, for the first time ever, took 2 hits in a row, effectively. Because it was always like good expansion, bad expansion. Now I've had 2 expansions that have kind of failed a little bit. Not in sales, but in terms of general longevity of the franchise.
Well, the reason the sales were good for Shadowlands was because people were expecting to be a good expansion, because BFA was the shit expansion. clearly that didn't work out for people. So I would still say Shadowlands was worse than BFA, even in terms of how many people left. And I am not even blaming the whole like Blizzard sexual harassment bullshit. In my opinion, Shadowlands lost percentage-wise way more people than BFA. Numbers-wise, yes, Shadowlands lost less, but there are also a lot less people. So let's just say it like this. Shadowlands lost the people that BFA didn't lose. View it that way. So everyone who left in BFA probably would have left in Shadowlands, but the people who didn't even leave in BFA left in Shadowlands. And percentage-wise, a lot more of them.
And everything that happened in 2020 and 2021, I think they are just like, this franchise was way more important than we thought. Maybe we, Blizzard, aren't as good at spinning up IP as we believe we were. Oh shit, like eating a helping of humble pie.
I really don't care about the dragon stuff, man.
And that's why they're kind of...
They are like 4 expansions too late for Dragon Isles. Dragon Isle should have came after fucking Cataclysm or before Cataclysm as like a prelude to Cataclysm, one or the other. It makes no sense now.
Actually giving it that lease of life. And I mean, to me it seems, you know, anytime a big move happens from a company like this, I expect it's out of desperation.
Yeah.
Especially looking at what Activision have done and looking at like how Vanguard
100%.
was like, oh shit, it is Call of Duty, is our massive boat Call of Duty, are there holes in it? Shit.
And
So-
similar with Warcraft, and
Yeah.
then you have to remember there's been many Activision Blizzard earnings calls where World of Warcraft and Call of Duty are highlighted.
One sec. Enter the camera. 8 minutes, Jesus Christ, man. It's gonna be a while, huh? Let's go.
As the two big things,
Yeah, absolutely.
especially in the post-Overwatch decline era. So these things are important to them. As for what they could do, well, could there be a major patch in the works since 2021? So
Could be, yeah.
Mike Ibarra has apparently confirmed there was a patch incoming on his Twitch stream. And that is a
Yeah.
novel thing too. The boss of Blizzard Entertainment regularly just streams playing games on Twitch.
Yeah, I think, I can't remember if it was this or something different because there's a couple of different times he spoke about it. But very specifically, he was literally asked by someone in chat, you know, any news on Warcraft 3 Reforged, and he goes, nothing that I'm aware of, but I will speak to the team. I'll see what comms could go out anytime soon for that, because, you know, there is a team literally working on it.
Yeah.
So we don't know anything about that team or who they are.
I
or
do
where-
like the fact that's like the CEO of Blizzard is like playing on Twitch and like people can actually just like talk to him about shit. I'm sure there's in the rules where it's like don't ask too much shit about that stuff because he's like he can't just like disclose any real information. But as far as complaints go, and obviously probably like no toxicity and all that stuff, because like if you're being a dick, just get banned. And his mod is probably like lore or something like that. Well, actually no, lore left Blizzard, I believe, but his mod is probably like a community manager or something. That's fucking hilarious.
They are. All we know is they are working on it because he said so. Basically.
There has then been a rumor floating around that they're basically going to de-raid Shadow Legends things.
Yes.
A lot of people, I mean myself very much included. I think for some
De-raid
people, they
Shadow?
see
So,
something
like the
and it looks
graphics?
a bit more photoreal and there's more pixels and they're like, oh look at that, more detail, happy.
Better, yeah.
That's
I
how
look
it works.
at Warcraft 3 Reforged and I think, where did the art style go? Hello?
Yeah.
Right? So there is a rumor floating around. It's the sort of one where it seems like people have maybe heard something, but they can't say where they've heard it from, and it's just floating around this like circle of people who are broadly.
Yeah, that's the current one, isn't it?
But we can't really confirm it. But apparently, there's going to be some sort of graphical update. Now, the thing is, they have not been hiring people specifically for this. Then, of course, Vicarious Visions, the whole company.
And I really like how
merged
Uther looks,
into
to be
Blizzard
honest.
Entertainment.
I
They're
want his
mostly
armor in the
working on
game.
Diablo 4, from what we understand. They also did Diablo 2 Resurrected, but maybe.
God damn, the
Yeah, that's the
graphics
thing
back
where
then.
They had a full team that was, you know, the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
I am
Assist team.
totally okay.
That's a
This
big
this does look great, Shadow Legends,
was-
yeah. But I'm totally okay with these orcs, to be honest.
Who was also a big game.
This orc reminds me of the guy who made the Unreal 5 Orgrimmar, where you play as an orc. That's what the orc looks like there.
But also, you know, you can see, well, that was finished in September. So you can see how they would be able to divert some of those resources. Could go to Diablo 4. because basically everyone they're hiring for Albany
Wait a
or some of the
second.
resources could go
Look
to
at that
Diablo 4,
shit. Look where
because
his nipple
basically
is. Look, his nipple's like inside of his
they're
armpit.
hiring for Albany for their Legion
That
Albany,
looks
as they're
better.
called, as opposed to Vicarious Visions. Everyone they're hiring for them is
Nice hair,
hiring
though.
for the
But
Diablo
I
4
want hair
project.
like that, man. Not
So
like the
I haven't
bald
seen
part,
anything
but
else.
like
But at the
the
same time,
dreadlock
could have,
looks sick
some of the
though.
resources that they don't need for DTR, especially
This is-
considering
this is
they're
the
a
Conjures,
massive
right?
specialty studio. Their reporting studio.
Those look
they're
sick,
like a
man.
master studio. If almost out of nearly any studio in the world, you went, here's an old game, here's sort of how it works, here's some documentation, go make it happen now, they would probably be the best for that, and they demonstrated that with the D2R.
Yeah.
Because that
The
is
Terror
basically
remastered for a new generation. The
D2R
Terror.
remade in a pretty brilliant way.
Oh. I mean,
So I
it's
think that's a case
fine. It looks
they-
better, but
I think that might be them. Just because I think Blizzard internal resources, I don't know if they super have that free.
Yeah, they're kind of
so,
allocated to other things, and that
Yeah.
team was destroyed.
yeah.
Now, to move on to what the community want, one of the figureheads of this community, I mean, I've known of Grubby for such a long time, playing Star
Grubby, yeah, Warcraft 3.
is Grubby, right? War3 community, he's been a pro player for a very long time.
Yeah.
Talked about what the community wants as he sees it. So the first thing is that W3 Champions made a ladder system, and that's basically keeping the game from a multiplayer sense alive. He is worried that with this being a third-party
But they
piggyback
added their
service,
own ladder now, so it's fine.
Blizzard could maybe kill it.
Yeah.
So there's obviously worry there. He said that Blizzard don't deserve the community, but they are there for Blizzard if Blizzard wants help. Basically, the idea of like, hey, you have fucked us over so much. They want actual moderation for the game. Basically, as you said, moderation ain't happening.
Yep.
Right?
think-
So there's
yeah.
nobody's doing anything.
Yeah, the way Grubby said it is Battle.net reports are just going into the void. Just straight up gone.
But
There's probably some-
what can you report in Warcraft 3 really? Like just other players being toxic? Is that all it is?
Some like task management or some like support software racking up all these tickets, and just the chair is empty because they don't have anyone looking at it.
Yep.
Brutal.
He says the custom maps that are relying on Reforged models should be preserved, even if Reforged is, being reworked visually. And that's just the thing. Man, the community thinks something's going on there.
Yeah, that's what I found that particularly interesting because it had those vibes of everyone knows about this, everyone's under NDA or don't want to get their source in trouble, so they don't literally say, but they all kind of act as if it's happening, because a lot of that open letter video was about if you're changing this, be careful not to damage this, and that was for ladders, that was for custom maps and the
Interesting.
visual models, that was kind of maintaining the art style and graphics for any changes, and that was a pretty big part of it overall. So I feel like they might have, I'm not sure if anything big will be like announced for soon, but I feel like if something is going to happen in June, it very much is going to be here. We're sorry it looks like this. It'll look different. We're very sorry again.
I don't know how much they can really change the graphics. Like I think like that would be asking for way too much for such a short notice, unless they've been working on it for a while and been silent about it. But I think someone would know something. And as far as like, Grubby just made a video recently that says that the new patch is actually really good. I know it added the ladder. Oh, sorry, that's the PTR. That's still the PTR. But like they added a ladder and like some other stuff to it.
At least hopefully.
Yeah, and then also a community balance patch.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think the recent balance patch of, I say recent, April 2021, I think some
Recent.
of that didn't
Over
go
a year.
super well.
Yeah.
I'm not super sure because that game's complicated to actually get a grasp on, to be honest.
True.
But
And then,
yeah.
of course, some of the features, they were kind of just some of the features like, custom campaigns, ladder, global custom games, profiles, that sort of thing. And also maybe a community manager.
Yeah, so just, some of the promised features.
Yeah.
Or some of the features that were in the old game. Can we have them back, please? That would be
I
nice.
mean, I like how Uther
Maybe-
looks, but also it doesn't look like Uther to an extent. It feels like the hair is different.
Remake that just removed half the game. Sweet, thanks. But yeah, that's the thing where this is definitely from the angle of a Warcraft 3 veteran multiplayer player. I feel like, because obviously none of this is about none of this really deals with the promises they made
No.
from the overall perspective of players. And I think for me, on a grand scale, on the
Bluther.
can they get a
Yeah.
headline that people are actually resonating with? Can they right the wrong of Reforged? And to be fair, I think it would have to be not like a full No Man's Sky, but it would have to be a, hey, we know we have video footage of what we promised you. We're going to make that.
Yeah.
Or we're going to try to make that at the least. This may not make us profit. This may not be, you know, a financially sensible decision in the short term.
Like they
but we have to
need
put the resources into giving you.
they need the public relations, man.
I feel like that's the only thing they.
The Blizzard public relations is in the gutter, man. These guys need to do something with their public relations. It's crazy. What's going on with this? Holy fuck! Time doesn't even move, huh? Yeah, like their public perception is so bad. Like they need to do stuff that will cost them money just in order to gain people's trust back. It's crazy.
Can do. Because I mean,
It's literally one problem after the other. It's like BFA, Shadowlands, Reforged, Immortal. Right? It's like it's one for the Overwatch 2 is, in my opinion, pretty much like people are not too happy about Overwatch 2 because it's like it's the same game. There's nothing new about it.
The multiplayer community happy, but that wouldn't right those wrongs. That would be a bandage on this just gaping wound that they haven't really addressed and it's just festering. So I hope they do something pretty major. I hope that's what the announcement is. I hope it is. We're sorry. We really fucked this up. We'll do it properly this time. But I can't say if that's going to happen.
On the art style front, we just want to highlight from the OC Drummers video.
Yep.
Basically just, so like you can see obviously the original War3 here. This is kind of like a SD plus model in a way.
Yep, from the StarCraft 2 engine that they added for custom games in 2015. Why did you not just use these?
And it's funny because if you look at that, right?
From StarCraft 2 engine, yeah, seriously.
You know, sure. It doesn't look, it's not as high poly or high resolution.
But at least it kind of looks like it.
Reforged version of that character. But the War3 Reforged version of that character isn't even authentic to what that character looks like. That's one thing. It's got a different haircut, looks weird. It's like a weird Buzz thing.
Yeah.
But this
like,
is like
Uther looks hot in the Reforged, but it doesn't look like Uther.
The art style and the readability of the game is preserved. That's kind of important. Because if you look at War3 Reforged with the new assets, the readability's in the bin compared to the original game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that means it's just not the same thing. And here's, you know, again, looking at like some other assets. They could have just used these. I have a feeling that what happened with War3 Reforged is they wanted these like in-game models that they could maybe also use in cinematics. Yeah. And maybe that's what changed the requirements for like what the
it does make sense though.
Supposed to be able to do.
That really does make sense. That's like that's what they wanted. Jesus Christ, man, what's going on with this?
But from a gameplay perspective, I mean, I think it's a pretty self-evident thing.
Yeah, that's the thing where I think, especially now that people are looking at these and going, well, these have all been in StarCraft 2, and we know what you did with Heroes of the Storm as well, where you took a bunch of Warcraft characters and made them look beautiful. Why did we not have this? And that's the thing where, you know, you immediately go, well, obviously they had more ambitious plans, and it didn't work out. And that's a failure of management, that's a failure of production, that's a failure of, like, the whole project, as opposed to, like, just a easy mistake to make. It was a very just complex situation. But that's the like, here's the fix. You have all this.
Yeah.
And I think that's like it can be annoying definitely sometimes for developers and publishers and stuff to have just, you know, people in the stands, people in the audience go, why'd you not do it the way I would have done it? You're like, well, you know, there's obviously problems with being like armchair dev. But for this case, it's still a massive PR hit for people to go, listen, we can see what you've done. We know what you're capable of. Why are you making these dumb mistakes? Why can you not just give us what we want? It's so simple. And that's, I think, the point. It's so simple. Just don't make Reforged bad. So that's the legacy they have to
say.
Have
what?
to kind of deal with now.
Don't make it bad. You're crazy. Okay, give me 1 second. 1 second. Get this guy Remington Steel. I mean, I'm not the one who called him Remington, so it's not my fault. Expertise 20. Oh. Okay. Alright, there we go. Boom, boom, boom. 864. Okay, that is quite a difference. That's for sure. Just move this guy over here. Summon. So 864 is this guy, and this one is 749 with a Sanguini. Wow, that is quite the difference. Holy shit. All right, good to know. Good to know. I'll have to like recapture all of these guys throughout the week.
Though it's interesting, I don't know when this is going to happen actually, because I thought this would be a Summer Games Fest thing.
Oh.
But looking at the partners announced, Activision's there, but not Activision Blizzard. So I think they may have their own little thing planned for June time. Somewhere maybe a little bit after the first wave of Summer Games Fest news.
Interesting. Well, potentially that could indicate they're more just wanting to address their community rather than a massive marketing thing. But look, that's basically it. There's not too much else. So today we've covered what the leader of Blizzard has said, and then of course the kind of community,
kind of like a recap,
wish list, and then B, the kind of rumors that are swirling about. Ultimately, for Blizzard to be respected again, they need to get this right. They need to right this wrong. Let's hope that whatever happens in June is either very comprehensive or is just the first in a decently long announced set of plans to actually do right by the community. Perhaps we have it, and in June they come in and they fix it up for the multiplayer crowd and say, hey, single player, we're working on that. Here's a rough timeline.
Yeah, it just needs the first step to rebuild the trust. Because otherwise I do think like no matter what they do on World of Warcraft, no matter what they do with Overwatch, this is like just an axe hanging over their head.
It's just
it deserves to be.
It's a mark in their reputation.
Yep.
Deserves to be. Yeah, well said.
I think more than really any other.
I love the Grabby sets, like the community, even though you guys don't deserve it, the community is willing to help. Something like that, along those lines.
The idea of like every Blizzard release is good.
Yep. This is, was it like in the 50s or something on Metacritic? Something grim like that? Or was it down to 30? Anyway, it was embarrassingly low. It was brutal.
So there we go. That's the story. Hopefully we get some good news from this sort of newer era of things. And with that, well, check out the video really to...
This is kind of unrelated, but it's like, this is like kind of like been on my mind. So like they say vote with your wallets, right? But it's like, it's okay, let's say there's a game you love, right? Let's say Warcraft 3 is a game you love, and then they come out with this atrocity, Warcraft Reforged, and the thing is, you want it changed to be a better remaster for Warcraft 3, but at the same time you also lost trust for Blizzard, not because of that, because of other things as well, but like that was like, let's say, your last straw and you lost trust to Blizzard, right? So what I wonder is, at what point do you vote with your wallet, and at what point do you still hold a candle? Like, what is the breaking point for some, right? Like, for me, it was like Shadowlands. Like, at that point, I was like, okay. And well, for me, it was actually something else completely. It was during Shadowlands, but it's basically like, it's when I came to the realization that the only reason I was playing the game was because of my connection to my character that I developed throughout the years, and like the story, like basically, I have a sentimental connection to my character. And because my raid leader asked me to play a demon hunter instead of my paladin for the raid, I realized that actually, like, I hate the game. I really don't like the game. I was only playing it because of my paladin, and at that point I couldn't even do that. So I wonder at what point I should have noticed that, like, I don't want to play the game. Probably End of Legion, what do you call it, like the Antorus raid. Antorus raid, the last raid in Legion. Probably at that point I kind of noticed that I'd no longer enjoy the game, and I was only playing for my paladin, especially after I got my Ashbringer. Like, I would say the Ashbringer was kind of like, we're like, finally, I got it. I can quit now. But then Antorus was like, you know what? I really hate this game. I might as well quit. I think that was probably when, but until that point, I think I was holding a candle to Blizzard to make the game good again. Where I was like, you know what? I'll support the game. I want to see them. I'll support. I mean, I never paid money since like the token came out, but whatever. But it's like, it was like, I want to support the game to an extent to have that like experience that I had before that made me connect to my paladin. Like I want to go on an actual adventure again with my paladin, and I feel like I don't think that would ever happen again. And I think that's when I was like, that was like extra of like why I don't want to play Warcraft again, World of Warcraft. And like the reason I'm talking about is it's like, at what point do the people who hate Warcraft 3 Reforged but love Warcraft 3, at what point would they be like, okay, enough is enough, versus you guys don't deserve our help, but we will help because we want our game back, kind of thing, right? And it's interesting, like what is the breaking point really? Well, anyways, that was like a random rant out of nowhere. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Recording out.